Balancing between Deen and Dunya. Balancing between Deen and Dunya. Deen is the religion, our way of life, the Quran and the Sunnah. And Dunya is the worldly life, our jobs, our work, our family, our education, our hobbies, our sports, our money, our interests. All of that is part of the Dunya. And I've seen a quote a few times, and you probably are familiar with it. Some people write a quote, or they have it on their t-shirts. It says, Deen over Dunya. Deen over Dunya. Have you seen that quote before? Deen over Dunya. A lot of young people love that quote. It's a very nice quote, and of course Deen is over Dunya. Allah's pleasure is over the pleasure of this world. But I want to be careful that you don't misunderstand that, and it leads you into an extreme which becomes neither Deen nor Dunya. What does Deen over Dunya mean? I would rather say this, and this is more correct to the Quran and Sunnah. Make your Dunya part of your Deen. Make your Dunya part of your Deen. Turn work into worship. Who said that Deen, religion, has got nothing to do with Dunya? And how is that Deen becomes over Dunya, except in one way? The only way Deen becomes over, Dunya becomes over Deen, the world becomes over the Deen, is when I abandon the Quran and Sunnah, when I abandon my religious guidance and commands by Allah, and I prioritize my worldly gain and earn my wealth in haram, spend it in haram, use my free time in haram, the commandments and obligations of my religion are neglected and cancelled for the purpose of gaining something from this world. No. Or I turn my actions into showing off. My prayers become showing off, my Quran becomes showing off, my work becomes showing off. All of that becomes putting the world over my Deen. But brothers and sisters, it's very simple. Deen means way of life. The word religion is something that was introduced into the language, English language, later on. In Islam, there's no such thing really as religion, if you want to get technical. We just say religion for the sake of it, because you have to explain it. But Deen means way of life. Deen means way of life. And that shows us that Islam is not separate. Our Deen, our way of life, is not separate from our normal life. That is why some people term Islam as the religion, the natural religion. In the Sharia we call it Deenul Fitra, the way of life of our natural human way. A lot of people don't know this, especially people who don't understand Islam. They compare it to all the other religions of the world, whereas Islam is so different to all the other religions of the world when it comes to how we practice it in our life. Our Deen is not separate from our life. Look at the Quran, for example. Everything in the Quran that is mentioned is about all the aspects of our life. Am I right or wrong? In the Quran, you find that, subhanAllah, I even wrote them down because they're so good. The Quran talks about every day-to-day aspects of life. Family, business, dealing with money, property, investments, rights of inheritance, food, social interactions, health and well-being, sports, transportation, health management, organization, dressing, sleeping, hygiene, cosmetics, looking nice, smelling nice, innovations, coming up with new ideas in life, inventions, building and benefiting the society and the community, building buildings to benefit the people and yourselves, and even pets, Talks about the rights of pets and how to deal with pets. And entertainment, how to have entertainment in life. It talks about values, borrowing, lending, entering into contracts, promising, rights of legal proceedings against someone who has taken your right. The Quran talks about that. And the classical example is in the story of Dawood alayhi salam. When two men came in, each one was complaining about the other. They were seeking litigation. The Quran talks about how to get your right back. It talks about consumer rights, people who buy from you. The seller's rights, employment rights, if you employ someone to work for you. The employer's rights. It talks about visiting. It talks about hospitality. It talks about etiquettes of greeting, treatment of guests, hunting, fishing, sports, recreation, even the etiquettes of how to go to the bathroom and bathe yourself. Everything. Now when you hear, and I'm just mentioning some, there are many things. It talks about the art of war, the art of conflict, the art of differences of opinions. Not only pure worship that we are ritually used to. Not just how to pray. Not just how to fast, not just how to do the Hajj and pilgrimage, not just about hijab, for example. It's not just about how to read the Quran or sadaqah. No, this is one part. But if when you recite the Quran, almost every page has something to do with an aspect of our normal day-to-day life. Halal, haram things.